Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 340th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. As you can see, this is fought on the flat featureless map. Our first teammate is Brotherhood member Cal, who has bought the Rome BROTHERHOOD faction. And I think from what I can see there, he's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. So he's got the bog standard 31k army there. So look at the upgrades on his cavalry. As you can see, he's got 7 upgrades. So he's got an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry there. But as I say, that's the bog standard 31k Roman army, 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Very effective and very efficient. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Exilius, and he has bought the Rome Julio faction. And I think also from what I can see there, he has got the 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Once again, as I say, that is the bog standard 31k army, 14 infantry, 6 cavalry, proven to be very effective and very efficient, and most people use it. Okay, our third teammate is Brotherhood member Greeks Cleomenes. Now, the Greek clan's mission on Rome Total War was to be the best clan with a spear and pike faction. And to this end, they used to practice for hours and hours and hours. We used to see them in the lobby having internal battles all the time. They'd come out of internal battle, go straight back into an internal battle, always practicing with the pikes and spears. And I think most players would agree that the Greek clan was the best clan with the pikes and spear factions, and especially Macedon and Greek cities. If ever you see a Greek clansman with Macedon or Greek cities opposite you on the battlefield, you knew you were in for a challenge. And Cleomenes here is one of the senior members of the Greek clan, so you know that he's going to be extremely good with pikes. As I say, they did through their hours and hours of intense training and practicing, they definitely did become the best clan with the spear and pike factions on Rome Total War. Let's see, I think he's got 13, I think he's about 14 pikes there. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his pikes. Right, you can see he's upgraded them well. 8 upgrades, so that's 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack on those pikemen, and he's got 2 Cretan archers, obviously, because those big units are very susceptible to missile damage. And I see he's got 4 cavalry. Let's look at the upgrades on his cavalry. Okay, he's just got 6 upgrades, so that's gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. So that would be a very tried and tested Macedonian army that Cleomenes has got there. As I say, 14 infantry, 4 cavalry, and I think 2 archers. And our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, with that very old army of mine, just 12 infantry and 6 cavalry. But those infantry, most of those infantry have got an experienced stripe on, so it'd be interesting to see if that's going to make a difference towards the end of the battle. So there's our team. You wait till you see the other team. Should be a great battle to watch. At this stage of the battle, I just thought I'd draw your attention to a couple of units that Exilius has bought. Very rare units to the 31k battlefield, and that is, if you look closely here, they're early legionary cohorts. Now, you very, very rarely, I can't remember seeing this unit on the 31k battlefield for years, but obviously if those units are soak up pilot, if they'll stand their ground, they'll soak up pilers the same as any expensive unit. But of course, it's with the cheaper units, it's all about morale. If they're heavily attacked, they're obviously more likely to break than an urban cohort unit. But as I say, if they can stand their ground, they can soak up pilers. And if you notice, he only got one upgrade on that unit, so it'll be interesting to see how well they do during the course of the battle. And here is the other team. We have IOW Sparky. A lot of you know Sparky. He is in the Titans clan now, but when this battle was fought, he is in the IOW clan, and he has bought the Rome SPQR faction. I see he's got the bog standard 31k army. He'll have cavalry hidden in that long grass out there, so he's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry there. As I say, that is the standard 31k army, and is proved to be very effective and efficient in its time. Okay, their next teammate is RTW player Lee. A lot of you will know Lee, very good RTW player. If you notice there, I think he's also got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. But if you notice here, he's gone a little bit old school. We'll have a look at that in a second. Let's look at the upgrades on his cavalry. Okay, can you see he's only got 6 upgrades on his cavalry. So that's an that's gold shield, gold attack. But when I was just talking about old school, can you see that he's bought the old school armoured cavalry general? Now, up to about 8 or 9 years ago, we all used to bring this for our Roman general. until we switched to the urban cohort, which we use to this day. But Lee reminds me of Brotherhood member Uther and Brotherhood member Conan in the way that he uses this Roman armoured cavalry general in a harassing and haranguing way that he does use them very effectively. I've noticed that. So it'll be interesting to see how well he uses that Roman armoured general during the course of the battle. And I must say, it's nice to see a bit of old school on the modern day battlefield. As I say, those Roman cavalry generals got an advantage to them with their speed and the damage that they can do. Okay, their third teammate is an RTW player who's called himself Caesar Sows. I think that's how you pronounce it, Caesar Sows, and he's bought the Rome SBQR faction. And if you notice there, I think he's got 13 infantry and an archer unit and 6 cavalry. Let's have a quick look on the upgrades of his cavalry. Let's have that 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 7 upgrades. So that's an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry there. So that's Caesar Sows is SBQR army. And their fourth teammate is IOW Skippy, who has bought the Greek Cities faction. I think he's got 12 Spartan units there. Yeah, I think it's 12 Spartan units. I can see they've got 6 upgrades. So they've got the gold shield, gold attack. Remember what we talked about this before? You get the most out of your urbans by putting those upgrades on. And he's got 8 Cretan archers. Now, why do you think he's bought 8 Cretan archers? Think about our team and the faction in our team. He's bought 8 Cretan archers because, you see there, he got 8 there. He's bought those because one of our team is Macedon. And remember, the Macedonians 120-man units are extremely susceptible to missile fire. So I think he's hoping to decimate Cleo's Macedonian pikemen there with 8 Cretan archers. It'll be interesting to see how well he does during the course of the battle against Macedon there. So there's the 2 teams. This has got potential to be a great battle, and I really hope you enjoy it. It should be an exciting one. Okay, at this very, very early stage of the battle, you can see those 8 Cretan archers that we were talking about there, and you can see that Cleo has put his Macedonian companion cavalry into a wide formation there, because he was going to go around and try and take out those Cretan archers with his cavalry. But the Greek Cities General's ally, the SBQR ally, brought cavalry across to cover those archers. So that was a nice bit of cover there by, I think, Caesar Sows is SBQR cavalry there. Otherwise, I think Cleo was going to take out a lot of those Cretan archers. Can you see here Lee's general, as we said, the armoured unit there, using it to harass and harangue, trying to destabilise our battle line. You know, that's what he tries to do with that unit. As I say, very much reminds me of Uther and Conan's way of using that Greek city general. As you can see there, you can see that the Greek cities general is moving forward with his pikes, the spears there, and those Cretan archers will be starting to target. Whether they'll go for, because I think Cleo only had 2 archer units, so they might try and target those archer units first, take them out, then concentrate their archer fire on Cleo's pikemen there. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second, take stock of exactly what's going on. I think the plan here, was that Cleo wanted to take on the Greek cities general there. I think he wanted to take his Macedon pikemen against the Greek cities. Now, very often when you have a plan at the beginning of the battle, you try and stick to that plan, but of course battles do change, and whether that'll happen or not, I don't know. And my army was, I think, supposed to take on that SBQR army there. As you can see, Auxilius, very aggressive player. Those of you that have fought against and with Brotherhood member Auxilius will know that he is a very aggressive player and really does like to take the battle to the enemy. So it'll be interesting to see if he's going to do the same in this particular battle. Right, now, newer players for Rome Total War, I wanted to show you this. This is one of the reasons I wanted to show you this battle, was look at this massive Greek cities glitch. Now, this is one heck of a glitch here. Let's just pause the game. And of course, you never ever attack a glitched army. Now look at that. I felt sorry when I saw this. I felt so sorry for Skippy, because all of us are susceptible to glitches like this. And when you see your army absolutely expanding all over the battlefield like that. Now, if you notice here, can you see how much it's expanding towards our troops, towards our army there? Our armies. Now, if you notice that Cleo's put his pikes up, keeping his pikes up there. But remember, even when those enemy troops glitch, as they come into contact with our troops, they will attack. So, but if you notice there, can you see the Greek cities are starting to stabilise a little bit. They're starting to go back to their formation here. But as you can see here, even though they're glitched, they still attack enemy units there. So those Greek city units are still attacking Cleo's forward units there. Just wanted to show show newer players this is what can happen. But remember, you do not attack a glitched army, because what will happen is the player that you attack will probably leave the game. The host will probably terminate the game, and you, when they go back into the lobby, you won't be invited back into that game. It's very, very unsportsmanlike to do that. As I say, the Greek cities appear to be stabilising now. You can see they're starting to pull back into their formation. Luckily, they didn't lose many men. That's the pilot shield unit there. I think he's lost about 9 men there. So, luckily, they didn't lose too many men. But sometimes, of course, when you glitch towards the enemy team, you can lose a lot more men than that. So, luckily for the Greek cities there, he didn't lose, only lost about 8 or 9 men in that glitch. But as I say, you can see Cleo facing the Greek cities. That's the target that he wants, and you can see I'm moving my Scipii army down to this left flank here to face the enemy SBQR army there. But whether we'll end up fighting who we want, we just have to wait and see. As you can see, the Cretan archers there will start targeting. Remember, he got 8 Cretan archers, long range, do a lot of damage. They'll probably start targeting Cleo's big Macedon pike units. As I say, remember, the big 120-man units are extremely susceptible to any kind of missile damage, and that's why the Greek cities generals bought 8 Cretan archers. Now you notice Cleo, he doesn't want to stand around and get shot to pieces by those Cretan archers. He'd much prefer to take the battle to the enemy. As you can see him moving forwards towards the Greek city general, but he's also got to be very aware of the enemy SBQR army by the side of those Greek cities, because that SBQR army is going to be laden with pilots, just itching to throw them into Cleo's big 120-man units there. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. So if you go over here, can you see, as I said, Exilius, very aggressive player. It wouldn't surprise me if he started to attack Lee, who's in front of him. And over here on the right flank, not a lot going on at this time. But as we know, where it's quiet now, it might not be forever. Okay, at this still quite early stage of the battle here, you can see that Lee is being very aggressive towards Exilius here. Obviously Lee knows that Exilius is going to be aggressive, so he's actually trying to get the first attack in there. As you can see, there's a lot of pilots going into Cleo's forward pilot shield units there, and with that many infantry, you can see the actual pilots are almost like raining in on the forward units of Cleo's units there. So that's going to be taking a lot of casualties. Remember, the Macedon morale is not very good anyway, so when they suffer a lot of casualties, that obviously lowers their morale considerably, and kind of almost makes them ripe for routing. Remember, morale is extremely important in Rome Total War, in keeping your troops fighting or not fighting, depending on how many casualties they've actually suffered here. Right, if you notice, I'm moving my Scipii troops a little bit closer to my Macedon ally there, try and protect its flank if the Greek cities do intend to attack my army there. I think Cleo, you can see Cleo's forward units there have been absolutely decimated down to a few men there by the pilot hits. Over here on the right flank, as say, Lee can be a very aggressive player, and so can Exilius, so I'm expecting it to kick off here maybe. You can see a lot of pilot exchanging going on at the moment. But with a lot of aggressive players over here on this right flank, Cal can be quite aggressive, and so can Sparky. So this is where I'm expecting the battle to maybe actually start kicking off here, with actual hand-to-hand fighting here, as say, very aggressive players on both teams on this flank. Right, can you see Exilius moving his red Julii troops towards Lee's SBQR troops there? And I see there's a lot of cavalry on this flank as well, ready to throw in when necessary. Let's say Exilius, as say, those of you that have played with him or against him will know how aggressive he is, and how he's kind of really getting into the face of Lee's SBQR infantry there with his Julii infantry. Notice Cal moving slowly forward towards Sparky's SBQR troops there. Right, over here, can you see on our left centre that Caesar Sows is now, with his SBQR troops, is now attacking our Greek city's allies attacking Cleo's army. Now remember, as a Roman general, we've talked about this in other battle videos, do you really want to take pike units on head on? Remember, we've talked about this as something that usually Roman generals tend to avoid if they can. Taking pike units head on there. Right, let's just take stock of exactly what's happening. Let's say Sparky and Cal's army, not a lot going on, a little bit of pilot exchanging going on there, but not a lot there. But as you can see here, can you see how Lee has now aggressively attacked Axilius's Julio troops with his SBQR troops? A lot of cavalry over on this flank as well. So as I say, I think it's you can see things starting to happen there. As I say, the SBQR general here is attacking Cleo's pikemen head on, which is something that, as I say, most Roman generals would avoid. They tend to like to get around the flank or you know, other tactical moves there instead of taking them head on. And as you can see here, I'm moving my Scipio troops, I think, away from the Greek cities there, who looks like he's ready to attack. Just also like to draw your attention out to the rear of the enemy team here. Can you see that Cleo's got 2 of his Macedon companion cavalry out the back there? Now what I'm thinking he'd like to do is to smash into the back of those engaged SBQR infantry with his cavalry. I think that's why one of the reasons he's got his cavalry up round the rear there, as well as trying obviously to take out the enemy Cretan archers. And over here on our left flank, you can see that Cleo is already starting to take out a couple of the enemy Cretan archers there. So nice use of his companion cavalry in doing as much damage and mischief as he can. Right, as you can see here, the Greek city's general looks to me like he's going to be aggressive and come straight in onto my infantry, which he is. Obviously now I'm starting to throw a lot of pilers into those Spartan units. Remember, those Spartan units, 2 hit points, they don't get as much damage as other units by pilers. So there's a kind of a general overview. Can you see that Axilius is charging his cavalry in, and bang, as that cavalry hits. I think the SBQR lot are going to retaliate there, and bang, as the SBQR cavalry goes in. Another SBQR cavalry hit, and yet another one. Bang, as those cavalry go in there. You can see a lot of Axilius's troops are starting to rout now. As I say, our left centre here could prove absolutely pivotal to the outcome of the battle. Let's just pause the game for a second and take stock of exactly what's going on. Okay, now you've noticed here Cal is moving his army over to the left centre there, seeing that this is where the action's really taking place. Remember the enemy, the SBQR there, and you can see they're trying to punch a hole through our left centre, and Cal, as I say, being a good teammate that he is trying to take his infantry over there to try and help shore up that part of the battlefield. As I said here, you can see that the enemy SBQ are attacking our Macedon ally, and as you can see here, as we thought, the Greek cities are starting to attack my Scipio troops here. As you say, as we've said before, we don't really like taking spears or pikes head on, but if I can hold up these Spartans for as long as I can, maybe that might give my teammates a chance to try and do a lot of damage to the enemy team there. But as I say, Cleo's being attacked head on by those SBQR infantry there. But as I say, our left centre, there is being hammered. You can see Cretan archers been moved out to our right flank there to try and shoot into the flank of our team there. But as I say, our right centre here looks incredibly in a delicate situation there. You can see I'm charging my Scipio cavalry in, and bang, as my cavalry smashes into the enemy troops there. But now, if you notice that most of Axilius' red Julio infantry have now been routed, and Cal, in effect, is now holding our right flank and our left and our right centre. So he's holding our right flank and right centre there with his Brutio troops. And the enemy SBQR cavalry are charging again, and bang, as that cavalry hits. And another lot of SBQR cavalry going in, and bang, as that cavalry hits as well. You can see a lot of that's just our allies general has just been killed. Let's pause the game for a second. So you can see that Axilius' Julii general has just been routed or killed, I think there. You can see that the enemy SBQR army on our right flank is trying to move in there. But as I say, with Axilius' general has just been killed, and that means that all his Julio troops, obviously their general morale bonus will now be gone. They're being hammered by SBQR infantry and cavalry here. And so as you can see, our right centre here looks like it is on the verge of breaking. Cal's trying to do his best with the infantry that he's got there. You can see that Cleo's turned a couple of units to face there. because he can see the danger. He could be rolled up from right to left there. And as you can see, the enemy SPQR general still attacking the Mastodon units head on. A couple of Greek city units been sent over to help there to attack Mastodon. So if you notice, I've countered that with a couple of my Scipio units charged over there to try and take the pressure off of Cleo's flank there with those Greek city troops units coming in on him. But as you can see, the Greek city's general is making inroads into my Scipio troops. I need to take a couple of units out round the flank really to try and get into the flank of those Greek city troops instead of trying to take them head on. If you notice here, can you see that Cleo, as we saw earlier, has got a couple of his Mastodon companion cavalry out the rear, which he'd love to smash into the back of those engaged SPQR troops there in a hammer and anvil attack. If he can do that, I reckon those SPQR troops are going to be a bit tired, and he could rout several of those units if he can do that. But as I say, over here on our right flank and right centre, things are not looking very good for our team. Remember, we are the green, the red and the blue over here, and the enemy are the SPQR. If you notice, I'm charging some of my cavalry back into the fray there, and bang as my cavalry hits. But as I say, our right centre here, as I say, this could be a decisive part of the battle here, because if the enemy break through there, then they could start rolling us up from that particular point. As I say, Cal's realised that and has sent and moved his army over. As I say, Cal now in effect is holding our right flank and right centre there with his army against two of the enemy teams. Right, can you see that Cleo has managed to get his cavalry into the back of those engaged enemy troops here in a hammer and anvil attack? But if you notice, the enemy are counter-attacking that. He's putting another cavalry unit in, and bang as that cavalry unit smashes into the back of those tired SPQR troops. You notice he's moving his pikemen forward at the same time, so those SPQR troops are being attacked from the rear by cavalry and the front by the pikemen there. Nice sandwich attack there by Cleo, which would have caused a lot of casualties to the enemy team. Meanwhile, here you can see my Scipio troops are being engaged heavily by the Greek cities troops there. But as I say, if I can hold these Greek cities up as long as I can, maybe that might enable my team to do a lot of damage to the other enemy team members there. As I say, I've got troops around the flank there, attacking them from the flank as well as attacking them head on. As I say, if I can keep these Greek cities occupied, then that would be good for our team. But as you see, most of Cleo's cavalry now has now been routed there, but I think he did a lot of damage to the enemy team. Meanwhile, over here in our, as I say, our right centre, can you see the piles of dead? If you notice, they're mostly cavalry. Absolutely intense part of the battlefield there. And as I say, that could be the make or break of the battle here, whoever won there. And as you can see, our teammate Cal is holding our right flank and right centre against the enemy there. There's a couple of our allies, Julii units left, but there'll be battle damage, and they've probably been rallied as well, so their morale won't be very good. And you can see Sparky there with his SPQR troops trying to move in there. He's got his cavalry out there as well. Remember, those Cretan archers are shooting arrows into us all the time. So there's a general overview of the battle as it stands at the moment. You can see Exilius, his cavalry, still got some cavalry left. Very battle damage that he's charging into the enemy, and bang as that cavalry hits. Now, he might not have routed any of the units there, but maybe he may well have caused some casualties. He decided to pull that cavalry charge back a little bit there, maybe because he saw the SPQR cavalry coming in as well, looking to hit those couple of engaged Julii units there. See those couple of engaged Julii units out the front of Cal's army, and bang as that cavalry hits, routed both of those engaged Julii units there. Nice little surgical hit there by the SPQR cavalry. So as I say, this right flank of ours and the right centre here is right up in the air at the moment, and we've lost most of our allies' Julii army there. As I say here, you can see that the enemy SPQR troops are still putting pressure on Cleo's pikes, but from forward, right, attacking it head on, which, as I say, most Roman generals watching this probably would avoid if they could. Right, now, just like to draw your attention, newer players to Rome Total War, can you see I've pulled my cavalry away from our right flank and I've moved it round to the left? Now, there's a tactical attack reason I've done this, and I just wondered if you could see what that is. Okay, so I've moved away from the right flank and come over to the left flank here. Now, can you think why I've done that? Why have I brought my cavalry over here? Do you think I might be thinking about charging my cavalry into those Spartans? Do you think that would be a good move? Charge them into the Spartans? Might cause them a few casualties, but my cavalry is quite battle damaged, so I don't think I'd do a lot of damage to those Spartans there. So there must be a tactical attack reason I've brought my cavalry over here. Can you think what it could be? Look at the main battle line. Look at the battle lines where our armies are joined. Okay, so if you notice, I'm going to take my cavalry. This is my plan. Take the cavalry around the flank here, around the left flank. Okay, and why do you think I want to take my cavalry around the left flank? Okay, newer players to Rome Total War, why do you think I'd like to do that? Okay, well, what I'd like to do is take my cavalry around that right flank and smash into the back of the engaged SBQR troops here. Now, if I can do that and rout all those SBQR troops, then that would free up Cleo's pikes to help on one flank or the other, whichever he wanted to do. But it's a bit of a risk, because I think that Cal, with his army over there and cavalry, should be able to hold okay over on that other flank. But I think that tactically here, if I can do this, then this could really help us with the battle. If I can just rout those infantry that are engaging Cleo's pikemen there, then that, as I say, that would free up Cleo's pikes there for him to take them wherever he wanted to. So as I say, this is a tactical attack move by my cavalry here, and let's just see if it right. So I'm round behind the enemy team. Now can you see Cleo's charging his cavalry in there as well? Right now I've got 6 battle damaged cavalry here that I'm going to try and charge. Can you see the Greek cities general trying to blunt my attack? And my cavalry's going in, and bang, as those forward units of cavalry smash into the flank and rear of those engaged SBQR troops there. Right, just pause the game for a second. Okay, so I've managed to rout several of the enemy SBQR troops there. I'm going to press on and try and kill as many of those SBQR troops as I can. As I say, that will free up what's left of Cleo's pikemen there to help. Over here on our left flank, you can see my army is still fighting the Greek cities there. But that was a tactical attack by my cavalry. Over on our right and right centre here, you can see that Cal is still doing a great job at holding out against the attack of the enemy troops there. Some more of our allies, Julii troops there, have been routed by the SBQR troops there. Anybody see a bad tactical move by the SBQR general? Okay, can you see his general here is detached from his main army and very exposed to an attack. Now, Cal spotted that. Remember, if we can take out that general, then the morale of all his troops will drop. So that is quite a, shall we say, maybe a bad tactical move there by the SBQR general to do that. And I should imagine a lot of veterans watching this will probably be thinking exactly the same there. Because, as I say, if a general gets taken out, all his troops lose all their morale. Anyway, back to this tactical attack with my cavalry here. As I say, I'm trying to kill and rout as many of those SBQR troops as I can with my cavalry to try and help Cleo. And as I say, we've done quite well. If you notice that Cleo's advancing as well with his pikes. So, there you are. Just going to pause the game there. Do you remember we just saw that SBQR general was really exposed there, cut off from his army in a way, and Cal smashed into the SBQR general and has now killed the SBQR general. So that means that all those SBQR troops now have lost their general morale bonus. So remember, new players to Rome Total War, do not expose your general to be hit like that, because now, as you say, all his army has lost that morale bonus. Maybe that might prove pivotal or decisive even to the outcome of the battle here on that right flank. Okay, moving back over to our left flank here, you can see that Lee is sending in reinforcements to help his SBQR ally out here. And if you notice that Cleo is being attacked heavily on his right flank here, so they're looking to roll up Cleo's pikemen there from right to left. But as I say, that cavalry charge I put in there seems to have done what I wanted to, routed a heck of a lot of the enemy SBQR troops. Over here on our left flank, you can see my infantry is still engaged with the Greek cities there. I think my infantry have done quite well against Greek cities, but remember, that's an old army with an experience stripe on that keeps them fighting longer. If my infantry was just gold shield, gold attack there, they've probably been routed now by those Greeks. Remember, that experience stripe really helps with morale with your troops as well. Okay, so meanwhile, over on our right flank here, as you can see, Cal's done extremely well to hold as long as he has there against the aggressive attacking of the enemy SBQR team. I can see some of our Julii allies units probably rallied there, have come back into the fight, but rallied troops' morale is quite low, but they still can do quite good on the battlefield there. Right, if you notice here, Cleo now is turning his pikemen towards the enemy SBQR troops. Can you see? I was thinking about sending those battle damaged cavalry into the back of those SBQR troops, but I think I must have noticed that SBQR cavalry in behind my cavalry, which would have probably taken me out then. But over here, you can see Cleo has sent a pike unit over to help me against the remainder of these Greek city units. And I think once Cleo manages to take out those SBQR units, he'll be able to run reinforcements over here. Right, the Greek city's general is now being killed. I've managed to kill the Greek city's general. Right, can you see the SBQR cavalry charging in? Bang! But those cavalry are very tired. And of course, very tired or exhausted troops, their cavalry charge bonus is extremely low. Right, can you see? Remember, we are the green and the enemy are the purple. So you can see here how bad the situation is for us. I think if you look carefully, you can see the SBQR armies here outnumber our green ally there. Okay, Cal's still got some very battle damaged cavalry units left there. But as you can see, things not looking very good on our right flank here. But Cleo now, look, is starting to run. He's upped his pikes and is now running his troop. But look at the numbers. Those are 120 man units. 9 men. 80. 35. 11. So his units are extremely battle damaged, but he's still going to run them over to the right flank to help Cal against the enemy SBQR troops. Okay, as you saw earlier, me and Cleo between us managed to take out that Greek city's general, and are starting to take out the remainder of those Greek city units. And I want to run my army over as fast as I can. But can you see, I've only got 13 men in some units. I think I've got 6 in one. 6 men in that unit. So my units have been extremely battle depleted here over on that flank. So what help I can give will be very minimal if I can get over to that right flank. But as I say, remember, over on this right flank at the moment, the enemy of the SBQR and Cal is our green ally there. Right, can you see Cal's cavalry charging? Now this could be a decisive part of the battle. If Cal's cavalry managed to beat the SBQR cavalry here, then of course that would be great, because then we would have taken out all the SBQR cavalry, and Cal then can start using his cavalry to charge into the enemy team. But it's still 50-50. Can you see some green units routing, some purple units routing there? So it's really close here on this right flank. And you can see that the Lee's armoured general is still involved. That armoured general has been fighting everywhere. Still haven't managed to kill that general. That's how effective the armoured cavalry general can be. Right, can you see that SBQR cavalry unit charging into one of our Julii allies there? As I say, remember, the enemy are the purple and the red, and we are the green, Macedon, red, and my blue Scipio troops are coming across as well. So as you can see here, the battle's going right down to the wire. Can you see that Caesar general is still alive? So he's going to be giving morale bonus to all his allies' troops there. And as I say, Lee's general's there as well. He'll be giving morale bonus to all the allies as well. As I say, Cleo's brought his pikemen across there. I've managed to run my very battle damaged units over there to that right flank as well. And it looks like between us we've managed to actually rout the enemy on that right flank. But I just wanted to show you the intensity of this battle right from the left rank. Remember, this is where I was fighting the Greek cities. You can see the red cloaked Spartans and my blue Scipii dead there over on this left flank. And as we move up the battle line, you can see how intense the fighting was in this area. This is where the Macedon was fighting the SBQR troops. See the piles of dead there. You can see how intense, as I say, the battle was from one side to the other here, from one flank to the other, just by the piles of dead that you can see. And especially here, can you see the massive piles of cavalry there? That's where those massive cavalry hits were going in. You can see the piles of dead from one end of the battlefield to the other, just to show how intense this battle was from one side to the other here. But it looks like, looking now, it looks like our team has managed to maybe go on and and win this battle. Let's say we've all got extremely battle depleted units. I see my general's got 32, but that's the most. I think most of my units are a lot less than that. I'll just pause the game for a second just to have a look at the casualties of my units. See, I've got 5 men in that unit, 13, 20 men in that unit. One man in that unit. That's all I've got left. But because he's got a stripe, he's still fighting. 5 men in that unit. and 32 in my general unit. So that goes to show how fierce the fighting was. And as I say, that's a really good army of mine with experience stripe on to suffer that many casualties. Look at Cleo's 120 man units there, reduced to those numbers. It just goes to, as I say, another sign of how intense the fighting was here in this battle, and how close it went down to the wire. Just a shout there out to Cal. Really well played to Cal there, I thought, for holding so long as he did. He was actually in effect holding the right flank and the right centre there for us. Okay, first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. Now, is anybody surprised here by average victory? Because I was really surprised. I would have put money, I think, on this being a close victory. Looking at the battle damage units that we've got left, the small amount of battle damage units we got left, I thought that would have been close. A shout out to Greek Cleomenes there, highest kills in the game. So really well done to Greek Cleomenes there with his Macedon army. So well done. And also well done to Kaiser Soze. He's got the second highest kills in the game. So really well done to you guys. And just to say, Exilius, I don't think he got the kills that he wanted to, but he was smashed early in that battle, wasn't he? Do you remember? He was really smashed in our right centre, so he didn't get the kills he wanted. I don't think Sparky got the kills that he would have wanted either, there over on our right flank. But if you notice, I've got the smallest army in the game here, and I was fighting Greek cities. So I didn't do too badly there against the Greek cities there. But remember, my army is an old army with experienced stripe, and that's why my men kept fighting as long as they did, because of that experienced stripe. As I say, taking Greek cities on like that, you with a gold upgrades on herbs, I think they would have probably routed there. But that experienced stripe really does hold. And Brotherhood member Crypto tried this army last night, and I said to him, it's a small army for the modern day battlefield, and he said small but tough. And in the battle we played, I think he really enjoyed playing with that old army. So I'd just like to say, once again, really well played to everybody in the game. Really well done to IOW Sparky. Really well done to Lee. Really well done to Kaiser Soze. And really well done to IOW Skippy. Really well played game, guys. It was a great battle there. I thought you played really well. And also, really well played to Greek Cleomenes. Really well done to Brotherhood members Exilius and Cal. Really nice aggressive attacking, guys. And as I said, a shout out to Cal there. Really well done for holding as long as he did on that right flank against those aggressive enemy attacks. Let's say, this is Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed the battle. I look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.